Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're up in Green Bay, touring my all-time favorite stadium. The Frozen Tundra, Lambeau Field, home of the Green Bay Packers. Every photo you see today was taken by me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can write in the comment section what you like about this video. And with that, let's start the tour. Lambeau Field is a very historic stadium. It opened up back in 1957, and at the time it had a capacity of 32,500 seats. Today, Lambeau Field is the second largest stadium in the NFL and has a current capacity of 81,441 seats. When Lambeau Field opened up, it was originally named New City Stadium, and it was renamed in 1965 after Earl Lambeau. When we went to Lambeau Field, it was the first home game of the season, so the weather was nice, but it actually got into the upper 80s, and Lambeau Field really wasn't prepared for it, so they ran out of water in some locations in the first. Lambeau Field is very iconic, but when you look at it, it's mostly a bowl-shaped stadium. 3/4 of the stadium has press boxes or suites wrapping around the top, given the cold weather there. There is one part of Lambeau Field that's very different than the rest, and that's the south side of the stadium. There are multi-tiers of seating above the simple bowl on the south side, and I gotta say, this has to be my favorite part of Lambeau Field. If you're looking at the middle of the south end zone, it's just multi-tiers. They're stacked up on top of each other, and it's just very unique to all of football. You really can't see anything else like this. On either side, towards the corner, it's really two levels of tiered seating above the bowl, and I think it's just a very scary look. I think it makes a very intimidating atmosphere going towards that end zone. These multi-tiers of seating in the south end zone, they're actually pretty new. Lambeau Field was pretty simple for many years. When they added this, it really made it stand out, I feel like. One thing that I thought was interesting when I went to Lambeau Field, standing down towards the field, if you're looking around the typical bowl shape, the stadium itself actually looks pretty small, and you can see it from this view here. That is not the case for the multi-tiers of seating in the south end zone, though. That is still just massive. It's incredibly tall, it's overbearing, and just impressive. Moving outside the stadium, just to the west, you have Titletown. It's something anytime I see a Packers game on TV, they're always showing Titletown, especially in the wintertime. This is looking towards Lambeau Field from Titletown. It's the middle of the night before the game, so there's no one really around. It was actually pretty peaceful. We also checked out Titletown the day of the game that morning. I would highly recommend that. It was a lot of fun. We went up to the top of this hill. It gives you a great view of Lambeau Field. In the wintertime, you can sled down it or do whatever, and it's just a cool place to hang out. On game day, a lot of people hanging out around Titletown before the game. I will say once the game was getting ready to start, pretty much everybody leaves Titletown and comes into the game, though. Adjacent to Titletown, they have Lodge Kohler. It's a nice hotel with a bar on top. I would recommend going and checking out that bar. We went before the game, the night before the game. They had outdoor seating with fire pits, and it gives a great view of Lambeau Field lit up at night. Speaking of Lambeau Field at night, it's absolutely beautiful. It's lit up. It's gorgeous. A lot of stadiums, you go check it out at night, and there's no game going on. Everything's dark, and you can't really see it, but I highly recommend checking it out. They have the large Lambeau Field sign lit up. You have the clock tower that's lit up, and even the flags and everything. So if you don't have a night game and you're just going in through town, still go check it out at night. Walk around all of it. You'll have different architecture and different views as you go around it. In the northeast corner of the stadium, you have the Lambeau Field atrium. It's also beautiful and lit up at night. You have the Packers team store at the street level, and then you can go up these stairs, and that's how you can enter into the Lambeau Field atrium. We were able to enter the atrium the night before the game, so there was no one there. Very, very peaceful, kind of eerie though, just a very large open space with no one in there. I would recommend checking out the atrium if you go to Lambeau Field. This is also where you can take a tour, and they have the Hall of Fame. The Packers Hall of Fame Museum is a cool place to check out if you're a Packers fan. I will say when I was there, though, the draft is going to be in Green Bay the following year, so they had a lot of draft information in the Hall of Fame, which I was kind of whatever about. But Lambeau Field is the oldest continually operated stadium in the NFL. The Bears stadium's technically older, but the Bears moved in later. I think it's a very nice stadium. Some people knock it for being old, though. Lambeau Field's interesting though, given its age. A lot of NFL stadiums have never really been renovated. Lambeau Field's been renovated many times over the years. One thing that really surprised me about Lambeau Field though was the space for the seating. My previous video was the University of Wisconsin Stadium, and that was tightly crammed in. You can see it here though that there's a lot of space between each row of bleachers. The same thing goes for the concourse. A lot of the concourses were very wide open, a lot of space too. It wasn't cramped as compared to the University of Wisconsin's football stadium. Walking around the lower concourse, this is a view from the street level. You can walk all the way around. There is also an upper concourse. We took a ramp up, and this is a view looking down towards that lower concourse on the way up to the upper concourse. Walking around the upper concourse, there's still a ton of space. The nice thing about being up here though, you can look out, there's open areas, you can look out towards Titletown and just around the surrounding areas of Green Bay. I love the exterior architecture of Lambeau Field. They have brickwork. Anytime they have brickwork, I think that's a nice touch. The color scheme is also great, and it's pretty actually simple on the outside, a lot of symmetry. It just all flows together very well. Some people may not like this for being an NFL stadium, but most of the bowl seating is all bleacher seating. The newer multi-tiers of seating in the south end zone, however, are all chairback bucket seating. One thing I didn't notice until I went to Lambeau Field, though, is if you look at the tunnels, over the top of the tunnels, the yellow pieces of it, it all looks like pieces of cheese wrapping around the stadium. Lambeau Field layout reminded me a lot of the University of Wisconsin's football stadium. They're not too far from each other, but most of the stadium's a simple bowl shape with, press box or suites wrapping around it. Obviously, there is some big differences between the two, but overall, I would say probably 60% of the stadium is very similar. Oh, and they also do the jump around. The difference is, though, you look up around the Lambeau Field, you see the names Lombardi, Lambeau. The history in Lambeau Field is just incredible, and it gives you goosebumps being there. There's also a lot of oddities in Lambeau Field, one being this very narrow tunnel where the visiting team runs out. I think it's very cool. Above the multi-tiers of seating on the south end zone, they have a large video board, so it doesn't matter where you sit, you can see that video board. And if you happen to be sitting in the south end zone or those multi-tiers of seating, you can look towards the video board on the opposite side of the stadium in the north end zone. Another thing I didn't notice until I went to Lambeau Field is there's actually standing room. People can stand below the video board, so above the press box or above the luxury suites below the video board, you can see people standing. Another thing that's iconic that I did actually know about is all the houses that are right next to Lambeau Field. You can see the giant Lambeau Field in the background. Some of the houses are directly across the street from Lambeau Field. A lot of the yards, they're used for parking. You can go down there, buy a parking spot. It's just one of the most unique things in all of football. The giant G is looming large, and anytime you're in that part of Green Bay, no matter where you go, you just see Lambeau Field overpowering everything, and you can see that giant G. Something that was a lot of fun and surprising to me is just the amount of live music that was going on in Green Bay. It didn't matter if we were in Titletown or, the night before or after the game, there was always some sort of live music going on. There's a lot of bars around Lambeau Field, a lot of outdoor areas, and every one of them had live music going on. Something else that I was surprised about and didn't realize was just how much partying was going on in Green Bay. It didn't matter if it was the night before the game, the day of the game, after the game. There was always just a party going on, tons of people. There's bars on either side of the road. Certain roads are closed down. And like I said, a lot of places, maybe there's a lot of partying going on the day of the game before, but then once the game happens, everybody goes home. That wasn't the case here. If you're not going to partake in all the partying and you want to drive to the game, there are parking lots around Lambeau Field. There's parking lots right around it, and then you can see in the background there's a lot of places to tailgate and just a lot of things going on. So it's definitely possible to drive to the game if you want. The lines to get in, they looked really crazy, so I would recommend getting into the stadium early. We went in early, so we avoided the lines. I don't know how quickly they moved. I just remember looking out, and you could just see the mad lines trying to get in. Another couple unique things to Lambeau Field. One is the Lambeau Leap, where they jump into the fans, so you can see here the wall around the end zones that they would jump into. Lambeau Field also has the Go Pack Go. That's always fun to take part of that chant. Every video I like to throw in a photo of myself. It just shows I was actually at the stadium. This brings us to the end of the tour. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, write in the comments section what you liked about this stadium, and take care.